Romantic cynic here, talking about language. Words, like children, are always in motion, ever evolving, and sometimes seem to change overnight. In the mid 17th century, the Great Fire of London destroyed nearly half of that city, including St. Paul's Cathedral. A few years later, Sir Christopher Wren dedicated his remaining years to the reconstruction of that edifice. 35 years later, his vision completed, Sir Christopher, now an old man, accompanied the reigning monarch, Queen Anne, on a tour of the facility. At the conclusion of the tour, Queen Anne summed up her opinion with typical British terseness. She said, "It is awful, it is artificial, it is amusing." To my ears, that sounds like a devastating condemnation. However, Sir Christopher's biographer records that on hearing these words, he sank to his knees, gave a sigh of relief, and profusely thanked Her Majesty for her kind words. Why? Because in 1710, awful meant full of awe, awe-inspiring. Artificial meant artistic, and amusing meant amazing. What has happened to those words, awful, artificial, and amusing, has happened to many other words. We must retranslate and reinterpret our scriptures and reformulate our liturgies. Otherwise, we are in grave risk of misunderstanding the intent of biblical scriptures. So how does this affect something that most people know called the Lord's Prayer? We recite this prayer at the end of most meetings in my 12-step recovery group. I don't think most of us know exactly what it means. I know I didn't until I took the time to research it. First off, it's not the Lord's Prayer, it's the disciples' prayer. Jesus told his disciples, "When you pray, say this." The English rendition we commonly use was written in Elizabethan vernacular in the King James Version of the Latin Vulgate, which itself was a translation from the Greek scriptures. And there are profound differences with modern English in syntax and vocabulary. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. As written, this prayer is an acknowledgement that God will forgive us to the extent that we forgive others. That's not true. God's forgiveness is available to us even as we do the bad thing. In fact, that may be better translated, forgive us our trespasses so we can forgive those who trespass against us. And thus it becomes a challenge to ourselves to be more forgiving. Maybe. Lead us not into temptation. Now, in modern American English, to tempt is to lure, seduce, or tempt, usually into actions that would be considered bad, negative, or possibly even sinful. In 1710, to tempt meant to test. We are, in essence, asking God not to test us. Bad news. We are always and continuously being tested. We need to be tested, for it is only by coming through the fires of testing that we become, in fact, better men and women. Maybe we should ask God to lead us through temptation. Alternately, I know this prayer has been a comfort to millions of people, and if it comforts you, that's fine, but it does not comfort me as written, and I've chosen another. So how does this reinterpretation and reconfiguring of the biblical text and our liturgy affect the Lord's Prayer? Try this on for size. Eternal One, you who have created us and cares for us, blessed is your name. Give us this day what we need to move forward in your name and in your service. Forgive us our trespasses so we can forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us through the fires of testing and deliver us from harm that we may better do your work. And guard us as we learn to resist evil. May your kingdom come and your will be done on earth and in all the heavens. Amen.